You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
Oh, way to go, Chris, mouthing the words of our intro.
Yeah.
Hey, we were all very careful to be quiet. So
yeah, you could have heard a pin drop except for that music in here.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys. You finally got it together.
It's almost like we
just
kind of know
for
what we're
you,
doing.
Scott. Just for you.
This is the wonderful Real Crime podcast. This is episode number 92.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We're
creeping
inching
up.
towards 100.
We're creeping up.
Wow.
It'll be here soon.
When we hit that, it's going to be a giant anniversary orgy of flesh in the studio.
There's some
No, we're going to literally watch Orgy of Flesh.
Oh, okay.
There's
Sounds
some
good.
plans we have down the road, I know, with our friends from, and I know you probably, you'll talk about them too,
Well, we can talk about it now.
our dear
You want.
friends from Sellerman's.
Yes.
Who are really good to our show. Really cool guys. We've been talking about maybe doing some events with them. Some
Yes.
We were baking some ideas around. Chris, you want to elaborate on
Yes,
that?
I've already got about 4 or 5 people that are interested. We're going to do a horror short local film festival at Sellerman's,
Yeah.
Nice.
which will be pretty cool.
Do you think we could do, if we don't get enough time worth of them, we might want to throw in like a fucking B movie that nobody gives a shit about?
So far my idea is that we're going to call this the Carnival of Souls because it's going to be kind of like a carnival of movies, and then we'll show Carnival of Souls at the end.
Perfect.
After we do our horror shorts.
Maybe we should make that our 100th show.
Maybe.
I mean, if we
That
can
would be
time
pretty
it
close.
right. If we
Yeah.
can time it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an idea.
That'd be about 8
If we,
weeks from now.
if we already have a bunch of movies and have a lineup planned, I don't see why we couldn't.
It's
get
just getting
that
everything
arranged.
put together. So
Yeah.
Sellerman's one of our sponsors. We're going to be putting together an event with them. Also got to mention the Flint Institute of Arts, of course, as we do every show.
Yes.
Yep, great place. And then, of course, projectorscreen.com.
Yes.
Of course.
So,
Moving along.
news this week. Actually, word just broke that Joel Kinnaman from Altered Carbon and also played RoboCop in the remake is going to be doing a new sci-fi series via Apple that's going to be written and produced by Ronald Moore, who did BSG.
It should be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got the political climate to pull stuff from for a show. Because I know the original BSG pulled a lot of real politics into it.
Yep.
And so now he's got an even bigger smorgasbord to play with.
Yes. Also, Castle Rock Season 2 was announced today. They're going to do another season of it. It's been a pretty big hit for them.
Oh, it is. If you guys haven't watched it, it is spectacular.
I haven't had a
good.
chance yet.
Oh.
Yeah, likewise. I still need to get to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, I mean, all the reviews we posted have been very positive.
Josie's been rocking those out.
In other news, MoviePass continues down further
Jesus!
Oh my
H.
God.
Christ.
into their
Choose it.
deep, dark cavern of being a complete fraud at this point. People that have canceled their accounts are now required when you log in. Like my last month, I canceled on August 29th. My payment came out August 28th. Okay. So I have a month left on my membership. Now, in order to use that last month of my membership, I have to click on a little button that says opt in, and it automatically renews your account, and you have no way to cancel after that.
Yep.
So they're
That's
actually
so fucked up.
extracting money from people now that
Yeah.
want to cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 people.
Well, I thought it was hysterical. I canceled mine.
Yeah.
And they're like, you cannot open another account or you cannot renew your account for 9 months.
Yeah.
I was like,
Bad boy.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the hell? Like,
Well, wait. I'm quitting.
yeah.
I'm quitting.
Who gives a shit? But still, it's like
It's still weird.
you're
It's like,
bad. You quit our service.
I quit because I didn't have the money to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
I
not
quit.
like I quit because I'm like, oh, you guys suck. I quit because I'm like, I don't have $10 in my account right now.
I quit because I signed up for the AMC A-list thing, and I tell you what, it's far beyond anything MoviePass has ever offered. You still get your points. The app is super intelligent. It's
Is it?
really
Super.
cool.
Because the Movie
Super.
Pass one was terrible.
It really was. I've seen 4 movies so far in the last week with the AMC one. It's been easy every time. I just take my phone, punch in my code, I get my tickets. $20 a month, get all my AMC points. 2 times that I've already gone, I've gotten like coupons for $5 and $6 off. So in the last week, probably $50.
So, like, here, watch
50
movies for free, and we'll give you money to do it.
Yeah. Yep. So
3 people I worked with done, like, today's Tuesday. Yesterday was obviously Monday.
That is the way the calendar
Thank
works.
you for that reminder.
Three people, no less, 3 people came in going with the same story, with this, what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
They're like, I got so pissed off Saturday night. We were going to see a movie with this stupid app, and I just quit. And then all this hell broke loose. And next thing you know, it drops down the pipeline, and it's all over the place now. Done.
here's the other thing they're doing
Their
too is
company's
they're
so
limiting it to
hosed.
2 movies. Like right now, if you go on Movie Pass, the only movies you can see are The Meg and Mission Impossible Fallout. You can't select any other movies.
That's
course.
ridiculous.
Because they are committing suicide.
It's done. I think in the long run, we're going to see other movies crop up or other subscription services crop up. They're going to get it right. So we can thank Movie Pass for at least starting this. But at this point, it's time for them just to go the fuck away.
They just need to shut down.
Yeah.
No doubts.
We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last 2 little news bits. Train to Busan 2 has been announced,
Sweet.
which I'm very excited for
Yeah,
that
because
should be awesome.
They're not going to do the same thing again. It's actually
Yeah.
going to be an aftermath movie.
Wow,
Oh,
cool.
I thought it was going to be a parallel movie.
No, what I read was it's going to be an aftermath after the whole zombie breakout happens.
Oh, so
it's
going to
gonna
be a
about
recovery movie.
Yes, yep.
Oh, that's going to
So-
be cool. That's a different take.
Because we don't always want repetition with our sequels.
And we don't get those.
Yeah.
We don't get the aftermath movie.
No, you don't. What happened after all this crap?
Exactly.
Yep.
Like Dawn of the Dead, you don't get the now we have to rebuild.
Yeah. Now we have to rebuild them all.
Well, the girl with all the gifts. The girl with all the gifts, for example.
Yeah.
You do
Oh,
get
that was
an
so
idea.
good.
You do get at the end. You kind of get an idea of where it was going. They kind of give you a little bit of a taste of the aftermath, but not like a whole story. Like, what is the struggle
yeah.
Yeah.
to we will rebuild and all that shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That movie blew my mind.
fantastic movie.
That was
my
a great
God.
movie.
Yeah.
Then last little bit of news, The Meg. They were estimating a $20 million weekend and
42 million.
44.5 domestically.
Wow.
The Meg
Good
made
for those guys.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's already at about 160 million worldwide
Well, of
in
course.
one weekend.
Who doesn't love giant sharks?
It's so dumb, but it's so good.
Dude,
I mean, that's exactly what I want it to be, though. Like,
that's
I don't
all it
want
needs to be. It doesn't
Jason
need to be an
Statham versus the
intelligent,
giant shark
like,
to be a
deep movie.
good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to just be fun.
Yeah, yeah. So in new releases this week, we've got Mile 22 starring Mark Wahlberg, Alpha, the movie that's been troubled for the last 2 years and keeps getting pushed back. And we've got Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians is looking good.
Yeah, it is.
It's looking really good.
So, last little sponsor I want to mention is Recklist. We've discussed them a few times. REKLIST.com. Very cool site. It is a streaming site like Netflix or Amazon Prime, but they've kind of brought in the social media aspect to it, which is actually pretty cool. So, check them out at Recklist.com, REKLIST.com. That's all I got.
All right. I guess we go on to suggested viewing, huh?
Suggested viewing.
Okay. Well, I know what my suggested viewing is going to be.
What's that,
What is your
Chris?
suggestion?
Black Klansman. I saw it last night.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, Spike Lee's back. He's, bringing back the political elements that he used to get back with like Do the Right Thing and movies like
He's
that.
back and mad again.
Yeah, it's really, really good. The third chapter kind of falls off a little bit, but other than that, I would definitely suggest seeing that movie. So definitely takes a few shots at Trump, which is
No.
Imagine that.
yeah.
No.
So, yep. Chris Jordan, what you got?
Well, after seeing David Byrne at the Fox on Friday, I rewatched Stop Making Sense over the weekend and
Oh,
was just
so
reminded
good.
of how that is absolutely the best concert film ever.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
immediately with the I've got a tape I want to play you.
Yep. And it's just so
From there
well
out,
shot and it's
Who shot that?
perfect. I don't know who the cinematographer was, but Jonathan Demme directed it.
Demi. That's who it was.
So
That's who I was thinking of.
yeah,
Yeah, performance of Psycho Killer and
Oh,
that
yeah.
is phenomenal.
there's
Oh.
a
yeah.
bunch of songs from that film are better than the album version.
When they-
I would say, yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. But when they break out Tom Tom Club stuff, I mean,
Yeah, that's fun.
that's so great.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Trevor?
Well, it's August 14th. The biggest movie of the year got released on DVD on Blu-ray today. So I'm gonna have to go Avengers: Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to pick it up today, but I will tomorrow.
I actually, that's why I was early, is because I ran out to pick it up.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yep. I don't
Mr.
think I need
Weimer?
to say anything else about that.
Yeah.
Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I banged through that whole thing. I binged it over a week. And it was just, I had a lot of people say, Amber watched a couple episodes. She's like, yeah, I like it. And it was all the hype. It's one of them nice, rare times where all the hype I got off that really lived up to it. I enjoyed the hell out of that. You know, it's a handful of episodes. I think it's like 12 or 13 episodes. You know, but through their seasons, they have it in 4 seasons right now. I don't think they're going to be doing any more.
They are.
Are they?
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah, it
back.
got renewed.
But man, you know, there's a couple of like weaker ones in there, but like cuts out on a good record. You know, for me, you might have a couple of duds here and there, but all in all, man, I just liked the idea of the technology, what they were using, and how it was being applied, and that it wasn't too far in the future.
Well, because of
And
you,
I don't want to spoil. That's
because of you on Saturday at the party, I went home and added it to my watch list.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
like that there's a practical element to the show that I personally, working in technology, cannot totally identify with, and see the good parts and the bad parts of technology and how it affects us in our lives. And that's all I want to say about it. I don't want to go into any of the details of it, but I really liked how the approach they came at with technology, not too far in the future. I think that's so cool, right? Yeah. What is wrong? Do you need to fix your mic stand?
It's moving on me. It's okay. I'll be fine. I've got it now. It's all right.
I got it. It's okay.
But
got
I
it,
highly
I got
recommend that if you have a Netflix account, check it out, man. You'll really dig it. I had a riot, and everybody I know here who's seen it really enjoyed it.
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
It's a great show,
I
man.
would say
Fantastic.
everybody whose opinion I respect has said that they love it. So
I finally also watched Ex Machina.
Oh yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that forever. You know, and Alex Garland, I mean, obviously he did
Yeah.
Annihilation, which I'm obsessed with that movie over and over again. I talk
still
about.
haven't watched it.
And, you know, another brilliant movie. I had a riot watching
I
that.
think Ex Machina is actually the better movie of the two.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think the narrative is stronger, but they're both awesome.
No, they're both
amazing.
incredible.
The
See, I
only,
like it.
I'm going to be honest with you. The only reason I haven't watched Annihilation yet, is because of Natalie Portman. That's it.
You got to watch it.
She
Just-
bugs me.
Just watch it.
She's a plain Jane.
It's not. It has nothing. There's just something about her in movies where I'm like, she makes me tired in movies.
Watch it and bring my movie back, fucker. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, you have a copy of it still? Oh,
I borrowed
Yeah,
his.
yeah.
Well,
Still.
watch the damn thing. That ain't right.
I was offered to bring it back tonight. He said
Well, you
no.
didn't watch it though.
Yeah.
You gotta
Watch it and bring it back.
Watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So, what's our topic tonight?
Yeah, no segue whatsoever. We're
Nope.
just gonna dive right into it.
Hell yeah.
We talked about this. I mean, last week there was some things we were gonna do this last week, but some stuff came up. We couldn't
Yep.
do the show.
Life.
You know, and this was a tough one, I think, for me to do at least, because I'm kind of the guy who does the rock docs here and there for the Movie Sleuth. But we said, let's try to do like rock and roll or like music movies, like
Yeah.
not documentaries, which that can get, those lines can get blurred sometimes, but movies that were really about, you know, like narratives about rock stars
Bands
or
and
bands
music
or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's no shortage of them. And there's a lot of great ones that I've seen, and there's a lot of great ones personally that I haven't seen.
Well, I think the funny thing is about this subgenre too
Yeah.
is that even the bad ones are good ones. You know,
It
like how many
depends.
bad movies have you seen about rock and roll? Like The Runaways.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a great
It wasn't
movie,
a great movie, but it was still pretty good.
but it's still pretty good. Like I'm still
But I
interested
can say
in
the
that
Phantom
story.
of the Paradise was pretty terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've never actually watched it. I've heard some people say great things, but then it just looks okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's terrible, but
It's terrible.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
let's launch this off. If you guys don't mind, I want to get these ones out of the way because they're really important ones. There's actually 3 movies. They're kind of intertwined in their own way. They're not related, but they're related.
Okay.
The first one is called The Ruddles. All You Need Is Cash. It was actually,
Such a good movie.
that starred Eric Idle from Monty Python.
Yeah.
I saw it only like twice when I was younger. And it's a total Beatles
this is
mockumentary.
it's a mockumentary.
It's a
of Help.
mockumentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a riot. It's so much fun.
Oh, it is
you know what I
so
mean?
good.
It's hilarious. Now they say that was really the inspiration for This Is Spinal Tap.
I can see that. I mean, it makes sense.
Yes, This Is Spinal Tap really that's a huge one, I think, on this
It's
list.
so iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Spinal Tap is basically like the upper echelon of rock and roll movies.
Yeah.
Even though that's a
Yeah.
mockumentary too.
Yeah.
But if you're into rock and roll and you haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap,
Yeah.
I just don't
Then
even
you're
want
not
to talk
that
to
into
you.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It goes to 11.
This
Why
one
don't you just
goes to
buy a
11.
bigger amp? But it goes to 11. I mean,
But this one goes to 11.
it's
doesn't
just
it?
such an iconic.
Why don't you just make 10 louder?
Yeah.
But this one
Goes to 11. Yeah. Now there was this.
I
is
think we
Spinal
have the
Tap.
title of our podcast.
This one goes
This
to
one goes to
11,
11.
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
This is Spinal Tap. I mean, as you said, Chris, this doesn't. Hey, fuckers. That needs no introduction. Yeah, I mean, really, if you're into rock and roll type movies and you
You've
haven't
seen
seen
it.
This Is Spinal Tap, really get out there and see the movie.
Yep.
It's not hard. I think it's even on Netflix still. You can watch it on there. if you
Probably
want.
on Netflix. It's always on somebody's streaming service.
Yeah. Just a fantastic film. Just a riot. Much like The Ruddles. I mean, those two films are very much related. They're the same type of feel. Both mockumentaries.
What is the third one though?
Well, what I would consider kind of related was Anvil, the history of Anvil. I don't know if you guys have seen
God,
that
it
one,
is
right?
But see
So good.
that's more of a documentary, I think.
No, it's
it's
more
a
of a it's a mockumentary.
Is it really?
It's very much a
Yeah.
mockumentary.
Yeah. Oh, so good though.
But that's what I'm saying. The lines can be a little blurred, but I put it on
Yeah.
this list for that reason because it's very much a mockumentary. There's a lot of and it was written a certain way and portrayed the band in a certain way also.
Yes.
And it made them very famous. I mean, I grew up listening to Anvil, and they were one of those bands, it's true, they never really got their due. They
Right.
played some pretty massive shows, and they never really got their due.
Have you seen this movie,
a
Chris?
I've not. I've always heard that
Oh,
it's great.
Oh,
God,
dude, you
Tear
have,
jerking.
God, it's
Yeah.
It's tear jerking. It's a
Yeah,
tear jerking film.
you feel really bad for him,
Well, yeah.
especially what's his name that was trying
Lips.
to keep the name. Yeah,
Lips. Yeah.
that was trying to keep the band alive for 20 years.
Yeah.
with no support.
Yeah, I mean they were literally, and the movie does go through in a documentary type of style some of the failures that happen with those guys trying to do a tour, trying to do these things, and also trying to have a family and have jobs because this is 20 something years after they started the band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life goes on, but you still want to rock and roll. And there's a lot of really there's some really hilarious things that goes on, much like in Spinal Tap. Some really, and I mean, some of that footage was real. Like there was the one scene where they were playing in Czechoslovakia, and the guy wasn't going to pay him.
Yeah,
He was just going to try to give him something to eat, and they got fucking pissed. I mean, that was
Wouldn't
very
you?
much a real situation where they got into a fight with the promoter.
I went to Czechoslovakia and all I got was this borscht.
But that's the line blurs a little bit with that movie, but it does the needle will still fall over more towards a produced type of story, mockumentary type film. Those three films to me really are all mockumentaries.
Oh yeah,
They're stories. And if you haven't seen Anvil, we got to actually, when that movie came out, we all saw it and pissed ourselves laughing. We thought it was great. And they actually came through and did a tour where me and Amber got the VIP package. So we got to meet the band, which was great because I got all my old Anvil shit I brought with me for them to sign and stuff like that. All my old Anvil cassettes and stuff that I had from my childhood. And we got like the thing with them was they always wore the fanny packs. That was like the thing that Lips would always wear, this dumb fanny pack. So they actually made Anvil fanny packs. We all got one of those.
Oh
and
my God.
We got all this goofy stuff. We got a copy of the movie for them that they all signed. And so we got to watch the movie at the show. This is at the Crowfoot in Pontiac. Got to watch the movie, and then They came out and played for us.
Oh, that's
So it was a
amazing.
riot.
And they still tour.
cool.
They're
That
still
was
playing.
still
So
tour.
surreal, though.
Yeah.
They're doing really well. That movie really jump-started their career, and they're doing pretty well as a band now. So good for those guys. Really fun movie. If you haven't seen Anvil, The History of Anvil, it's a fucking kick-ass movie. It's a riot, dude. Check it out.
Well, I'm going to throw this one out there because this is probably my favorite, and it's up on the screen. The Commitments is, even though the music is kind of soul and R&B,
Yeah.
it's a rock and roll movie.
What do you think rock and roll is?
Yeah. I saw this in the theater when it first came out. I think it was like 92, 93, somewhere
Like 94,
around there.
Yeah.
And I just remember being blown away because you're watching these people on screen, for the most part, actually playing their instruments. And that singer, like we were discussing before the show, dude looks like he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
And he's like 16, and he has the soul of, a black man in his early 70s.
Yeah,
He was the sound engineer's son.
Yeah. And
That's how he got discovered. As a stand-in until they could find the actual person that was going to play the part.
Yeah.
And he was so fucking good that the director's like, fuck it, you're in.
he was a young Joe Cocker.
Oh, yeah.
He had that raspy, throaty voice. He could just punch through the mix. And just the whole movie, the whole story of them trying to break out and get big, and everywhere they went, drummer quits, all this crazy shit happens. It's like the things when you're in an actual band, these are the things that
that's
happen.
reality.
We have to figure out a vehicle. We have to figure out a mode of transportation to get from point A to point B. And that was one of their problems,
Oh, yeah.
shitty ass little van, and they're cramming that whole 12-piece band in there. Them taking the photos like out and just like the shit. I was like, dude, like that's the way all this stuff goes when you're actually in a band.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of the music that's in that movie, Mustang Sally, stuff like that, I had never really heard before.
Oh.
So, because I was in my late teens. So this was my introduction to a lot of that 60s
I grew up
soul.
on a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah,
this
see,
is
my
a
parents, it was
whole
always
different
like
version.
Fleetwood Mac, Yeah. So, and Hall & Oates, shit like that. So this was my introduction to soul music and R&B. And I remember I went out and bought the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah,
like the
both
very
versions.
next day. And it was,
Both of them.
Well, and then after that, they toured as the Commitments for years and years and years. And then he bailed. He wasn't singing with them anymore.
Yeah, Andrew
But-
Strong.
Yeah, but then they ended up having somebody else sing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was just up until 5 or 6 years ago, and they were still doing a
The
Commitments
original
review.
lineup. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I have a great side story about this movie. When I joined the Navy, this was literally the last movie I saw before I shipped out.
Oh wow.
I was dying to see it, ran to the video store, rented a copy of it, and watched it like 3 times. Like, it was a couple days before I had to ship out. Watched it like 3 times in a row because I loved the movie already. I'd already seen it 10, 15 times by then. And shipped out and totally forgot to return the movie. So came home and took it back, and I'm like, I am so sorry I forgot to bring this movie back. And they're like, oh my God, this thing's like 9.5 months late.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I've kind of been in the Navy. And they're like, oh, do you have your ID? And I showed them, like, okay, we'll waive the fees. Don't
Oh,
worry.
that's pretty
that's
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that movie was the movie that I shipped out to.
And it holds up. Like you can
Oh.
watch this movie tomorrow, and it's still the exact same as when you watched it before. It's timeless.
Yeah. And it
So-
does, and I mean, it's obviously set in the 80s.
Yeah.
Obviously, with all the references they're making musically.
Making fun of you two.
U2,
Shit like that.
Sinead,
Yeah.
Boy George,
The Smiths.
the Smiths.
I totally forgot about that.
That Morrissey dude that comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he sings The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. I'm
he
pretty
does.
sure.
He does.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, Chris Jordan. It's on you.
Okay. So when I was thinking about this topic, I was sort of like, I kept kind of going off in 2 directions, where there's like movies like The Commitments that are just sort of like about music, and then there's movies that are like not really biopics, but about actual musicians and actual bands.
Mm-hmm.
And of those, my 2 favorite ones that I thought of right away were Sid and Nancy and 24 Hour Party People.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, and like they both, those really go together in my mind because they both really kind of like mythologize the music and the people a little bit, and like definitely take liberties with what really happened and do some kind of really stylized fantastical things, but in a way that really like gets at the sort of like emotional truths of these characters and this music, and like the way that Sid and Nancy just goes to just such a heartbreakingly dark place with those characters.
Yeah.
And like gets into that like really like dreamy, ethereal Roger Deakins cinematography.
And then you throw in the horrible cameo by Courtney Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's like I hadn't seen that in years, and I rewatched it just, you know, the other day, and I forgot just what a fucking emotional punch in the gut that
Oh, it
movie
is.
It
It
is.
I haven't seen it. I don't think I've
Devastating.
seen that since like 2001. Yeah, I think it's been about that long since I've seen it. I need to go back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good. It's,
I bought the Criterion when it came out like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And watched it because I hadn't seen it since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot. Like, I was like, oh, it's going to be sweet, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh,
my
God,
God.
I just want to
Yeah.
kill myself. It's so sad.
Oh yeah.
And the what's interesting about that one is that it does the music stuff really well at the beginning, and like kind of captures like the vibe of the punk scene and the Sex Pistols and stuff, like well, if not necessarily accurately, because I know Johnny Rotten was kind of
Johnny
pissed.
Rotten
Yeah.
bitches about everything.
Well,
Who
yeah.
cares? What he
Yeah.
says
But then
anymore?
as the essay and the liner notes on that Criterion release kind of point out how like the movie really does like shift down this like really stylized kind of emotionally subjective path as
yeah.
it goes on, and just like goes off into like their mental state. And that's when like rewatching it with that in mind, I noticed like how much the cinematography gets really stylized and really
it's really
cool and,
personal feeling.
oh
It's
yeah,
grimy as fuck,
It
too.
is.
yeah.
It's so. That movie is so fucking heavy.
oh yeah, it is
So heavy.
really heavy.
Like, I remember the last time I watched it when Sid and Nancy are in the hotel in New York, and they're basically just bums at this point. They have nothing going on. They keep giving Sid offers, and, you know, he blows money on heroin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
just-
he
it
blew
just-
everything on heroin.
Yeah. It's
Everything.
just like, oh, I'm going to sell my base for heroin, dude. Like, that whole thing, it's so, like you said, stylized, but it's real, and you kind of get into that mindset.
I've
Holy fuck.
actually watched that decline of people I've known, and it's heartbreaking, and you can't do anything. Like, you can try, but it never fucking works.
Yeah.
Yeah, great choice.
Yeah. So
But 24-hour party people.
24, that's kind of the total opposite, where it's also stylized, but it's just really like infectiously fun. And that's have you guys seen
I don't
that
think
one?
I've seen.
I haven't seen that one.
Ooh,
You guys have to see it.
so it is about the
Is it about the
rise
rave
and
scene?
fall. Partly, it's about Factory Records and the guys who started it, and just that core group kind of taking it through the end of punk when like they started the label with Joy Division,
Okay.
up through
Happy Mondays.
the Happy Mondays. So yeah, it's
Oh,
like
God.
sort of three
I remember
acts.
the
So it's
Happy
basically like
Mondays.
Joy
One of my
Division, New
favorite
Order,
bands.
and Happy Mondays.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's done like it's a documentary where Steve Coogan plays Tony Wilson, who
Yes.
founded that label, and he breaks the fourth wall and like narrates the story to the camera the whole movie.
It's really good.
And it also like it does this really cool thing where it's sort of like the style of it shifts as it goes on, where like it feels like it's shot in the style of the time that it's about, where like the beginning with Joy Division is like really kind of like down and dirty handheld doc style, all like 70s muted colors, and then it just gets psychedelic and weird when it's
Yeah.
all like the rave scene and the Happy Mondays. And it's so much fun. It's so good.
You don't have to like this music either to watch this movie.
Yeah.
It will like introduce you to it, which is pretty cool. Because Happy
Yeah.
Mondays were fucking crazy, dude.
They were good.
Yeah.
They were so good.
Trev, what about
Man,
you?
you guys have left me like just flabbergasted. Like I'm now I'm like stuck trying to figure out like between three different movies which ones I want to pick.
Doesn't matter.
Man, I'm gonna have to go CBGB.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh, that movie was amazing. Alan Rickman in that movie was so spectacular. And all the side characters. I mean, watching that whole scene form.
Well, it's
was
one of the most,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, it's one of the most iconic music scenes.
Ever. I mean, name the bands that started there.
It was like Blondie.
Blondie, Talking Heads.
Talking Heads, yeah.
The
that's right, I forgot.
The
Ramones.
Ramones. The New York hardcore scene. I mean,
the
when you
whole-
got
yeah.
all the hard guy shit.
Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of our childhood started in one place.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when we were younger, I mean, that was a rite of passage for bands. Any band, like, you know,
Was to
bands
get a gig at
was to play at
CBGB.
CB. Like
Yeah.
a lot of my friends from here that played, you know, in bands back in the day, that they wanted to play at CBGBs just to say, you know, get their T-shirt
Yeah.
and say they played at CBGBs. It was that iconic of a club.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the movie covers it so interestingly. It feels very tender and sweet. Like it's this kind of love story to him
Yeah.
and his creation. And watching him, the lengths he went for people
Yeah, because he sacrificed basically his whole livelihood to run
for
that
everything.
bar. Yep.
For everything, and for that one band. I can't remember the name of him now. But he
can't remember either.
signed a punk band and was their manager. And they just screwed up everything that they touched. But they were great. You know?
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful movie. So that and Purple Rain.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean, you got to go with Purple Rain.
Rain.
I mean, the music alone makes the movie worth it.
Yeah.
And then the terrible acting of Apollonia just takes it to the next level.
Yeah. There wasn't really much good acting in that movie across the board. But
Morris Day, man.
Yeah, he's like the best
Yeah.
of the entire movie.
And Clarence Williams III was great in it,
That's
too.
true. But
As Drunk Dad.
Prince's acting was not that good. In that movie, though.
No, Prince was just playing Prince.
Yeah.
But, man, the music.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason it's one of the best-selling soundtracks in the history
Oh, yeah.
of soundtracks. You know?
Went from hit to hit to hit to hit to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, speaking of the Ramones, Rock
Oh,
and Roll High School.
Oh,
course. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Probably top on my list here. Easily one of my tops.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I just rewatched it for probably the 50th time, like a week ago.
I mean, any Ramones fan. If you're a Ramones fan,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and it's the Ramones being the Ramones, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
which made it because they're not actors.
Oh yeah.
No, they are really
Oh
not
come on,
actors.
Dee Dee was so believable in.
they were fucking hilarious, dude. The
Oh,
whole
they
like
were.
the whole pizza scene, and they're trying to feed him like fucking Brussels or what the
Yeah.
hell sprouts.
Bean sprouts.
Bean sprout. Here, eat
Yeah.
this. It'll make you
Eat
better. You know, I mean, just there's so much. You know,
There's
PJ Sellers.
There's so many vitamin. Oh, PJ Souls in that is.
Was it Souls?
PJ
PJ
Souls?
Souls.
I know a PJ Seller. Sorry, PJ Souls.
Yep.
Yeah, she's fantastic in the flick. I mean,
Oh,
as
yeah.
good as she can be. It's a campy fucking rock and roll movie about overcoming friggin' the man and my brain's not
and
working
the
now.
principal and that's
authority, overcoming authority, and
Oh yeah, and Principal Hogarth.
yeah,
That's Mary Warrenoff, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
it's also it's got that weird like '80s Mary Warrenoff, Paul Bartel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. It's got
business going
everybody
on.
out of
Yeah.
every weird movie from the late '70s shows up in this movie in
Oh,
the
yeah.
early '80s.
But it's a riot.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's a full scale riot, like party.
Literally at
You
the
know,
end.
it is. It's just a party to watch. And if you're a Ramones fan, you know, it's the
Saw 'em
music
live
is
3
the music
times.
is fantastic. You
Yeah.
know, so there's not much else to be said about that. It's just an awesome flick, man.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean-
Rock and Roll High School. It's about it's the story with the Ramones in it.
Yeah.
man.
PJ
What more do you
Souls'
want?
second best movie.
Yeah. What was her first one?
Halloween.
Oh yeah, duh. She was also she had a cameo in oh my god, The Devil's Rejects.
She did.
She was in the very beginning.
And
Yeah.
her and Linnea Quigley
Yeah.
are actually really good friends.
Oh, I mean, we can hook up with her too.
Yeah,
Long story.
That'd be nice.
This is our second week. This is our second day working together this week
In a row.
Yeah, we did a show last night on the other show. But yeah, I mean, you can't touch Rock and Roll High School. In my
No,
opinion. It's
no,
just shit.
no.
Yeah.
It's so spectacular. Chris,
Chris, why are you staring at your stupid phone?
Because
But
I'm
you
looking
better be
something
playing a
up.
game.
So, anyways, I better be playing a game.
No, not.
One of my
He's looking at
favorite,
porn. It's fine.
looking at
It's
porn.
fine.
One of my
Pono.
one of my favorite rock and roll movies is about one of the best bands of all time,
What's that, Chris?
the Oneaters.
Oh yes.
That Thing You Do.
Yeah, that's a,
that's
that's a
that.
really good movie. Actually,
That Tom Hanks
yeah.
one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Remember-
like 20 minutes of that once.
Yeah, beginning of the movie, their name is The Wonders, Oneders, and every time they get announced on stage, it's the Oneaters.
Yeah.
So they finally change their name to The Wonders. But yeah,
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
It's
yeah.
It is a really
Great
good
movie.
I like I said, I've only seen like half of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's because I came in the middle and I was like, watched it for 20 minutes. I'm like, shit, I really want to watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
it's it's just another one of those movies that kind of starts to follow the band from their humble beginnings, and then they get huge, and then they break up, and blah 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 blah. But like Jonathan Shake, the guy is barely in anything ever now. But
Yeah.
he was like really good in that movie. Tom Hanks, phenomenal in that movie.
Is he doing anything these days?
Tom Hanks.
It's a joke.
Well,
It's a joke because he's in everything
Yeah,
every
I know.
year.
I
and
know. Just don't let him near any planes, boats, islands,
Houses.
houses. Yeah,
I
but no.
Sending him to rescue Matt Damon would
Yes.
go poorly.
No, That Thing You Do, it's really good. There's a lot of good dramatic elements to it. There's a lot of comedy in it. Just a good movie. It's a good-hearted movie.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, and
Now Tom Hanks directed it, didn't he?
he directed it. The beginning of the movie, the like cheesy, like really bad early '50s song that plays over the opening sequence.
Yeah.
That like rock and roll has to come and vanquish. He wrote that as like a joke song to put at the beginning of the movie.
I
Yeah.
could see that. I could see that.
But yeah, and the rest of that cast too is what? That's like
I can't even remember who's in it now.
I think aren't Steve Zahn and Giovanni Ribisi
Yeah, yeah.
both members of the band?
Yeah.
Yeah, and fuck, what's his name? Who's the,
I can picture
the main
him, dark
character? The guy who kind of looks like young Tom Hanks.
Not Colin. It's not Colin, but
Tom Everett.
Tom
Everett
Everett.
Scott. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
yeah. He's really good.
I even liked him in what was that American Werewolf in
in
Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's always good. But yeah, That Thing You Do, that's just one of those that I always fall back on. It's an easy watch.
It
You
is.
know, you don't have to think too much. You can just sit back, not have to process anything, and enjoy it. So
Chris.
that's my next
Yeah.
one.
other Chris.
Other
Yeah. Other Chris. So one that is kind of in between some of the things we've been talking about that's sort of inspired by real life stuff, but is a fictional one, is Almost Famous.
I never saw that either.
You never saw
Oh,
Almost
that was
Famous?
a good movie.
That's a really
You've
good
never
movie.
seen Almost
really-
Famous?
It's
It
so
and Rockstar.
Maybe I saw it.
Are
Oh.
very similar to me.
Good. Yeah, I never saw Rockstar.
Mark Wahlberg is surprisingly good in it
Huh.
as the guy that just wants his band to make it.
What about Almost Famous though? Almost Famous.
Almost Famous is
Cameron Crowe.
Yeah, it's Cameron Crowe's big movie.
Kate Hudson,
Yeah, Kate
Patrick
Hudson,
Fugit, Billy Crudup,
yeah, Billy
Philip
Crudup,
Seymour Hoffman, Zoe
Jason
Deschanel,
Lee.
Francis McDormand, Jason Lee.
Yeah,
Dude, it's like
Yeah.
stacked.
it's
is
stacked.
really good.
Now you know that it's
Anna
actually about
Paquin, Jimmy
Cameron Crowe.
Fallon,
Yeah, it's
Fairuza Balk,
about-
Noah Taylor. I mean, Mark Hoslick. Dude, like, there's
It's so cool because it is the story of Cameron Crowe and his first job writing for Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
the
then during the course of that is when he wrote Fast Times at
Fast Times
Ridgemont
at
High.
Ridgemont High. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and yeah, and the band in it is sort of like inspired by the Eagles, and some of the weird egomaniacal
Zeppelin.
shit that they did was actually like the singer like standing all like high on the roof screaming, they're like, I'm a golden god to the sky.
Yeah.
Is like that's a real Eagles story.
Oh,
and,
I'm
like,
sure it was
yeah.
Glenn Fry too.
Oh, it was. It was. Yeah. But yeah, it just captures that zeitgeist so well, and is also just a great coming of age movie.
It is such a good movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it really is like one of 4 or 5 great coming of age in the 70s movies.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
spectacular.
I remember we saw this one, and like my wife typically doesn't like movies about rock and roll, but like this is one of her now like top 5 of all time. Yeah, it's that good.
Yeah, it's a hard movie to not like. It's one of those movies that like if you watch Almost Famous and you come away just like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says something about you.
Trevor.
I'm gonna go a little bit more psychedelic on you guys.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
The Who's Tommy.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Oh,
all
yes.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah.
Fucking
Tommy.
awesome.
Oh, everything about that movie was so amazing. And what blows my mind still to this day is that the performances out of the movie are better than the ones on the record. All of them. Tina Turner singing Acid Queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elton John on Pinball Wizard. Eric Clapton. I mean, like there was no bad music in the entire thing, and it was just beautifully shot, if not at all comprehensible.
Right,
comprehensible.
yeah.
But
Ken Russell.
was it Ken Russell?
Yeah, Ken
Yeah.
Russell directed that.
Jesus. But yeah, no, that one is one of those ones I watch like every 2 or 3 months and just kind of zone out for a few hours.
Soak it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's spectacular. Nobody else has anything to say about it? Come on.
No.
great.
I love The Who.
I loved it.
I've seen The Who a couple times
Yeah.
live.
Oh,
So
that's not
yeah.
even fair.
Yeah.
See, I've never
Fuck you.
seen all of Tommy. That's one like I've seen bits and pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always meant to. I have it on DVD, and it's just yeah.
The one image that sticks in my mind from that film is when his father gets stabbed.
Oh yeah,
When they kill his father, that really bummed me out.
that scene,
And that's how he became Batman.
and the mom bathing in baked beans.
Yeah,
That scene,
Fucking
it's
weird,
always
man.
like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like,
yeah,
first of all, why would Anne Margaret go? Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it.
yeah,
You know, like she was kind of a star at the time.
yeah.
Ken fucking Russell, man.
Yeah. I guess that's all you really have to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ken thought it would be cool. All right, we'll do it.
I mean, he's made bigger stars do worse things, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't take much though. Like I said, she's kind of a star.
Yeah.
I got an obscure one here. I think. Well, it's maybe kind of obscure. I don't know if you guys have seen it though. It's a film called Light of Day.
No.
It had Joan Jett and
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
J. Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
I love this movie. I learned to really appreciate it now that I'm older because I've played in a band. I've been playing in bands for the last 25 years, like on a local scale. Never really became big or anything like that, like a lot of people. And that's what this movie's kind of about is, Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox are brother and sister, and they both jam. They played in a band together.
Yep.
And there was like this town thing. They had the
I've
club.
never even heard of this.
It's really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, it's a great. When
It's
it
a great
came out,
flick,
this
man.
movie was actually really big.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did it come out?
It's like 80.
It was after the whole Back to the Future thing.
Oh, really? After that?
Yeah, yeah.
Look it up.
I'll let you know.
I usually put dates on my list.
Like
Damn it.
I'm really trying to figure out how I missed this because that's like my wheelhouse years.
1987,
87. Oh, fuck was I at? Okay.
and this one was pretty crazy too because it's like Michael J. Fox, Jenna Rollins, Joan Jett,
Yeah.
Michael McKean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
because he was her manager.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. Yeah.
See, I was going to
Cherry
guess
Jones
that
is in
Michael
this.
J. Fox was her manager. Was my guess when you were saying who was?
No,
in
he
it.
was. They were brother and they were playing brother and sister, Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox.
Okay,
Wow.
what's it called?
It's called Light of Day.
I gotta find
and there's
this.
just it's
I'll
really
have to watch
about the struggle of where you're from a small town and really you're just a bar band. There's one, like I said, there was the one bar in town that all the bands
Cleveland.
played at. Yeah, Cleveland, and Joan Jett kind of veers off into a different direction, and she kind of gets into a bigger band. And it's just this really great. And it
sounds cool.
You see really cool things like how
It's really good.
little things like how do you write a song, and you see these little snippets here and there. It's a really cool flick. It's a heavy flick. It's kind of a soul crusher to a certain degree, but it's an older flick. It's one that not a lot of people bring up nowadays, I think. But I love that movie.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Great flick, man. And
'Cause
Joan
Joan Jett
Jett was awesome.
Yeah.
Great actress.
Yeah.
Really?
And it was cool seeing Michael J. Fox playing guitar
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because he's actually a really good guitar
That's
player.
what I. Well, he used to be.
Yeah.
What a dick.
So the
Sorry.
reason why when you guys mentioned what that was, I knew what it was right away, even though I've not seen it, is strange trivia about that one. There's like a bar band playing in the background in one of those scenes. The front man in the band is Trent Reznor.
Oh wow!
Oh no
Like,
shit.
Yeah, 2 years before he was Nine Inch Nails, he was
How
just
weird.
an extra in this movie. When
Well,
he
that's
thought
like
he was
Ice
going
T
to try
being
to
in
act.
Crush Groove.
Yeah. Super random trivia.
Or no,
Yeah,
not Crush Groove. He was
super
in
random
Breakin'.
trivia.
Sorry, Breakin'.
Ice-T was in Breakin'?
Yeah, he's
yeah.
the MC for.
Oh,
all of the
yeah,
stuff.
you're right. Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is also in Breakin'.
Yes, he
Yes,
is.
he is for like 2 seconds.
He's one of the dancers on the beach.
Yeah, he's one of the.
He's got the moves.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes we should just do a podcast that's just about Breakin'.
Yeah,
we should just
could.
do a podcast about Van Damme.
Fucking movie.
Yeah.
A fucked movie, dude.
I love that fucking movie.
Breakin'.
Love it. Just for turbo
hysterical.
dancing in front of
And all the
convenience
weirdness
store.
that movie spawned. Oh my god.
Oh,
There's
dude,
no
I was in the
spin-offs of
local.
that. Holy
I was
shit.
in the local newspaper after that movie came out because I was that white kid that joined a breakdancing class.
Wait. You're white?
Ish.
Okay. I've been confused this whole time.
Also, at the end of The Last Jedi, the kid force lifting the broom just
Yeah.
makes me think of Breakin' and
Oh, yeah.
crack up
Every time.
every fucking time.
Every time.
It's like, yeah, it's Boogaloo Shrimp in space.
Turbo and ozone.
Turbo. It
Okay.
was Turbo. Yeah, his Light of Day was a good flick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going
Chris.
to go a little more epic in scope now. Oliver Stone's The Doors.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, well, that had to be mentioned.
That was my
Dude.
next one.
You know,
Flawless movie, man.
a lot
Masterpiece.
of people actually don't like this movie. A lot of people say he kind of did the Oliver Stone thing with it, kind of, put a little
he
too much in there.
dramatized a little
Yeah.
and
Insert
made it a
some
little bit worse than it was
JFK
supposed to
conspiracy
be.
theories.
Yeah, but
I don't remember that plot line.
there were 3 shooters that shot Jim Morrison. Shot him. They shot him up. That's what it was.
There's no heroin in his
God,
system.
you guys are
Damn it.
fucking terrible.
There
Anyways,
was no heroin in his system.
I remember I saw The Doors at Lakeside Mall Theater when it first came out and was totally fucking blown away
Yeah, I love
by
it.
this
We saw it in
movie.
the theater, too.
Just
Yep.
the lighting he uses, like when Jim is meeting Pam for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And they've just got that really soft light on, know? And there's that scene where they're playing Love Street.
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's like walking up to the house, and I'm just like, oh god, dude, it just captures that whole California in the '60s, free love era
Now,
perfectly.
what's really interesting, I saw it with my mom and my aunt,
Yeah,
and my mom was a massive Doors fan. Like, she followed them around. She saw them in concert a few times. Had the biggest crush ever on Jim Morrison, and she spent half the movie crying because she
I
was
could
a
see
southern.
that.
She was a Southern California girl in the '60s with all that shit happening, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is just way too accurate, like for what it felt like being there."
Ugh.
And she was like, this is just kind of upsetting,
it's always of interest to me because Jim was not really a singer when he joined the band. He never was. He was
Poet.
He was a poet.
Yeah, he was a poet, and he was an independent art film director.
Yeah.
That's
what
how the
he
movie
was
opens.
trying
That's how the
to
movie
do.
opens up. Is that
Yeah.
just
With
shitting all
Oliver
over his
Stone as his director, as his teacher.
Yeah.
And he just like I remember that. That's one of the most iconic. He just looks at the classes. I quit.
I quit.
Yeah.
I quit.
Yeah.
And he just walks out like, fuck, that's heavy. This movie couldn't have been bigger when it came out. This was like the summer this movie came out. It was fucking
This is all we were
insane.
talking about.
It was the hugest movie, man.
And it was so funny to me because up until that movie, I was massively into hip hop. Massively. Like, that's what I mainly listened to. And then that came out and it caused this like fundamental shift in my taste. And I started exploring everything, blues, all of it from that point on.
Well, artistically speaking, the Doors were a band that broke down a lot of barriers.
Oh, yeah.
They were one of the first bands, I think, that really... I mean, you had a lot of prog bands at the time, like Yes, King Crimson, of course, too.
Mm-hmm.
Very proggy, very experimental type bands, where the Doors did,
Did it first.
they did blues, they did all kind. They were very polarizing in their approach to writing
Oh, yeah.
songs.
Well-
that's what made them who they were, I think.
And there's nothing cooler than a lead guitarist who never touched an electric guitar until he joined the band.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was a flamenco guitarist.
Yeah. What was funny for me was I was really into the Cult before I saw the Doors. I had been listening to the Cult Electric in Love
Oh man.
like for 2
Great
years
record.
straight. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was funny because then when I saw the Doors, I'm like, wait a second. Like, dude, you're Ian, where'd you get this shit from? This is all Jim Morrison.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the cult is
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
Doors
obviously he
2.0.
went on to sing with the Doors later on and kind of became
Yeah.
Jim Morrison for a while.
They're a harder Doors. I mean, they were more
Yeah.
driving hard rock band, but
very
but they were the next evolution of where I think the Doors might have gone. With
but like
what
songs
they
about
were doing.
fire and eagles and dragons and snakes, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Doors, that is definitely in that like top 10 of rock and roll movies of all time.
Well,
yeah.
the scope of it's just it's massive.
My personal, that's probably number one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Probably.
it's close for me. It's really close for me.
All right, Chris.
Okay.
Don't make me work too hard.
Well, as long as we're
see
just
your
like
list.
bouncing all over, because like I'm trying to think of something that sort of logically follows from
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you know, I can't. So
You can't.
well, or it's not the
that's-
movie that's coming to mind. So
yeah.
just as long as we're just bouncing all over the place. Another one that I really like that's sort of about rock and whatnot is Hedwig and the Angry Inch. For something
Oh.
totally different.
Yeah.
As like an actual rock opera musical. And like there's so much going on in that movie and so many thematic threads, like all the stuff about identity and gender and love and sexuality, but then also like a huge thread is just like the really, I think, realistic, like, you know, just like damn it, like she wants to be a musician, like she's just like trying to make it, and like this broke ass band trying to tour, and the whole plot thread of her ex having stolen her songs and gotten huge, and she's like just doing like a sort of petty revenge tour, playing like the shithole bar next to the huge stadium, and and just like
It's such a great story.
it's such a great
And the
story.
music
so
is
the music
surprisingly
is
good.
amazing. Yeah.
I actually saw it before it ever went to Broadway.
Oh shit.
It was playing in Chicago for
Oh
10
my
years
God.
before it ever became a thing.
Ooh,
And it was
wow.
just this little underground play that they had in Boys Town. And one of my friends was like, "We got to go see it." And I was like, he's like, "It's a drag queen as the star," and he was a drag queen. And I was like, "All right, we're going."
So did you see it like when John Cameron Mitchell was Hedwig? Oh, that's awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I got to.
And it happened to be 2 doors down from the porn shop I worked in. Ironically.
Really?
How convenient.
Yes.
Yes, I did. I got to see it.
That
when
slowed
it,
us
when
all
it
down
came
a little
back
bit.
up. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry,
Trevor
Chris.
worked
Go
in a
ahead.
porn shop.
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, I worked in a video store that also had porn, but not a dedicated porn shop.
Me
this
too.
was the pleasure chest. Yeah.
Chris, what were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say that I did get to see it when it came back on Broadway with
Yeah.
with NPH. So
Oh,
got
I
to-
wanted to see that. I
It
wanted
was-
to see that because I love him.
Oh yeah, he was really really good. But yeah, just everything about that show and that film too is
The costumes,
perfect.
like,
Yeah, the
everything was so
costumes.
cool.
And yeah, just like all the different facets of that story are so perfect as like a movie about the artistic process and about love and sexuality
And revenge.
like, and yeah, like just yeah, damn, it's so good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and the music is amazing too.
it is.
That is,
It is.
I for sure listen to that soundtrack more than I listen to the soundtrack of any other rock opera or musical, I would say.
Cool.
I can't go that far, but yeah, it's good.
Trev.
I am going to go obscure,
All right.
psychedelic, and weird.
Okay.
I'm not going with the one that I was that I was going to pick off yours.
Okay.
I'm going weirder. I'm going 200 Motels.
I've never even heard of
I've
this.
seen that shit.
Because I worked at Thomas Video, this video I know about that. We had it on VHS. I've never seen it.
It is
do tell.
bizarre. I can't remember who directed it. It's basically Frank Zappa in the Mother's Free Expression movie. And none of the story makes sense. Nothing about it is logical, reasonable, intelligent. Nothing, but the music is so good. and it's the early 70s version of the Mothers. So it has a totally different vibe than any of the other Frank Zappa stuff. And it's just, it's hypnotic and weird. And I fucking love it.
It was actually directed by Zappa and Tony
there you go.
Palmer.
That makes sense. Yeah. Nobody's in it. Just the band. I think there's a couple cameos of other people.
I love Zappa, so I need to find this movie and watch it.
They just re-released it on Blu-ray last year.
Wow.
And it's,
Fucking genius.
And now
dude.
what's really funny, the reason why that movie had escaped me, and then I happened to glance over at Scott's list, and he had the monkey's head
Yeah.
on there. And Frank Zappa is in the movie, is in Monkey's Head. And a little trivia for you, so because nobody knows this one. There's only one reason they called the movie Head.
I heard about this before.
I've heard
too.
this too.
For the sequel.
Good story.
Because they were planning on making a sequel to the movie, and all they wanted to be able to do was put on the poster from the people who gave you Head.
Yeah, yeah.
That was why the Monkees wanted to do it.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
get-
Subversive
story.
and wonderful.
And we get, you can mention the show also, the Monkees TV show, which
yeah.
it's not a movie, but it was a really fucking awesome
Oh.
TV show. It got me into the Monkees.
It's Three Stooges
Yeah.
meets good music.
But it's another example. I mean, that through that TV show, you got to see, it was a comedy. It was a
Oh,
fun
yeah.
show, but you got to see how a band tried to work and how they struggled. And it was all obviously portrayed that way. But you were seeing how a band, they all had to live together. They were always broke, and they were always trying to get a gig, and they would never get paid. They were playing Battle of the Bands all the time, trying to get ahead. There was all these things that happened.
And then what was really cool about watching that show was that you watched their music evolve.
yeah.
And you watch the producers stop being in charge of the music, and you watch it drastically change over the course.
Well, they called it there was that group called there was a name for that, the Hit Machine. They called them.
yeah.
Like they were a group of people that wrote the majority of the earlier Monkees stuff
Yeah.
was all written by other people.
Oh, yeah. Frank Zappa ended up writing a couple songs
Yeah.
for the Monkees.
Yeah, there was the
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, it's great. It's
the
great.
documentary on the Monkees. It's not they have some very interesting documentaries. Peter Tork, man, he's a fucking aggressive prick.
He is, but
Oh,
man, is he
got
talented.
Extremely talented, but he's telling stories. He's like, look, if you don't let us write our own music, I'm going to slam your head through that fucking desk. Like, this
I
guy
know.
was nuts.
It's so
dude.
funny. Like you hear about this shit and you watch the TV show, and he is the funny,
Super
sweet,
nice,
goofy
Yeah.
guy.
little
Yeah.
blonde boy.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a tough dude.
Oh yeah.
He didn't
Wow,
take
that's
any.
And then Mike
Hilarious.
Nesmith's mom was like the woman who invented Post-it notes or Whiteout or one of
Whiteout.
those. Yeah,
It was Whiteout. Yeah, Mike Nesmith's mom invented
And so,
Whiteout.
but now he's a software developer.
yeah, he also did some movie production too.
Yo, he produced Repo Man.
Yes, he
oddly
did.
enough. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
he
yeah.
did.
So yeah,
Great
Monkees.
movie.
Yeah, Monkees'
Yeah.
Head was a really, really bizarre. Another bizarre weirdo.
That's why I
Yeah.
kind of mentioned them together. Is that they're both kind of free form.
And Head was, if I remember this correctly, the last episode of the Monkees TV show was very, Head was very psychedelic. It was very tripped out, and so was the last episode of the Monkees. Like the last episode they did, where they were just like in the town, and the TV set
Yep.
was weird, man. But yeah, I definitely recommend.
Well, you
the
could
show and the
definitely
movie.
see that psychedelics were making their way into the.
Oh yeah, they
into
were
the production
going
crew.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to lighten this up a little bit. I know. Where are we at, Chris? We're about
We
an hour in.
we got a half hour still.
Okay, cool. Okay, I got a couple things here, but I do want to throw down Airheads.
Oh hell yes!
Come on.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
totally a fucking
Oh,
rock and roll movie.
love that movie.
It's just a
He
fun.
just wiped his ass with the contract. I love these guys.
I haven't seen this movie in a lot of years, but it was a fun. Steve Buscemi's in that.
All of them at the top of their game.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I mean,
Totally fun movie, and another example of what I would refer to as like desperation. You're trying to be an artist, you're trying to make a living, and you just do crazy shit out of
Yeah.
desperation.
like
And
take a radio station hostage.
Yeah, right. You're gonna play.
I've
our
done it
music.
before. Somebody should take our podcast hostage. That would be amazing.
And fuck all of us.
Yeah.
Like really
No,
hard.
I'll pass on the last part, but you come take us
No,
hostage.
actually, fuck Chris, and then we can all watch and laugh at it. It'd be hilarious.
I've got my iPhone. We'll record it. We can sell it for coin.
But Airheads was it was a fun movie, you know, rock and roll type movie.
Oh, yeah.
About a band struggling, and you know it ends great.
And Michael McKean in that movie
Yeah.
was such a wonderful douchebag. It was just
Yeah.
I have no complaints about that movie. Loved it.
Fun flick, you know, nothing too insane. I mean, at least to me, it wasn't like. I mean, it's a great movie. I enjoy it. I put it on my list. It wasn't like my favorite movie by
No,
far as
but
like far as the genre is concerned. But you know, a fun flick for the time.
It's also a different genre.
It's a
not
comedy.
It's a comedy.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
like,
It's a rock
it's
and
a
roll
comedy
ki- it's-
first, but it's a
Well, so is the fucking Rock and Roll High School is more of it's a comedy
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Okay.
Are you guys ready for this
I'll shut
one?
the fuck up.
No,
You guys-
no.
You guys ready?
Yeah,
Because I'm gonna drop some serious shit on you right now.
God.
Yeah, I think if I shit, he means shit.
Typical Tuesday.
no, I gotta poo. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Steamer.
1983's Eddie and the Cruisers.
Thank you. I had it on my
Oh,
list
hell
too.
yes.
You didn't drop shit. I had it on my list
Yeah,
too.
that movie.
Michael Paré in that was so
Great
good.
flick.
Yes, it's kind of the Elvis story. You know, gets huge, gets huger, big, and then decides he just wants to disappear from fame.
Yeah.
Movie's dark, dude.
Oh, it
movie
is.
is really.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
I just went back and watched it like a year ago. I picked it up on Blu-ray.
Dude, those scenes where the car pulls up on her lawn and the lights are flashing. To this day, I've seen this movie probably 100 times because it used to be in repeat on HBO.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's where I
Okay?
saw it. Yeah,
And
that's where we all
every
saw it,
every time that 57 Chevy or whatever it is pulled up on her lawn and the lights start flashing, I get the chills. Because I'm like, it's got to be him. It's got to be him.
And that's what's so great about the movie is that you still are left at the end with was it him or wasn't it him?
Right,
Or
right.
was it that one guy that wanted to make this new record sell?
Yeah. So young Tom Berenger, this was one of his first movies that he was ever in. I mean, he looks like a kid in this movie.
Oh, he was a kid.
Playing piano in this. And it's just everything about this movie has like that rock and roll aura to it. But I thought it was.
It's dark.
It
Have
really
you
felt
seen
like
this, Chris?
I've not.
Oh,
I have it. I've been meaning to watch
Yeah.
it for.
you
a
need
while.
to watch it. You'll
Yeah,
love it.
this
You'll
is
absolutely love
a
it.
must
I
see.
hear it's great. Yeah.
It on so many levels too.
Well, it was cool because at the time that this came out, there was nothing else like it. You know, nothing else. And then, you know, a lot of people still weren't over Elvis's death 10 years prior. So, you know, this kind of brought a lot of that back for them. And then obviously there was Eddie and the Cruisers 2, in which Eddie Lives, which actually the movie itself flopped financially and critically, but the music in the second movie is actually really good too.
Yeah. Who
So
wrote the music for it? Do we know?
it's John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So all the music is very
Blues rock.
very Bruce Springsteen
Yes.
sounding, very like straight American rock band, but it's all great. I've got the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, nice.
And it's phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those albums you can listen through from the start to the end. Side note, I interviewed Michael Paré last year about a project he had, and we talked about Streets of Fire a little
nice.
bit, which was really interesting. They tried making Streets of Fire 2 without having the rights to it, so it got shut down. It's really bad. It's on YouTube. But we discussed the possibility of another Eddie and the Cruisers movie, you know, like 25 years later. And he was like that would be amazing, but nobody now would give us the funding to do it. So
Probably. It really went from HBO constant circulation to bargain bin and vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and I think that's how I never saw it, because like I'm younger enough than you guys that I didn't see it in heavy rotation on HBO, and then I just didn't fucking hear of it for years until, again, working at Thomas Video, I saw the box on the shelf like, oh, what's this? And then like everybody there was like, dude, that movie's amazing.
It is amazing. And the music is so good.
which is great rock.
Like the dark side will always get stuck in my head. Anytime I hear like those first
Oh, dude.
Anytime
so
I
good.
hear that first that opening piano piece for it.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Epic. So
I'll
yeah,
have to
Tom
watch it
Berenger,
soon.
Michael Paré, Ellen Barkin,
Yeah,
and Joe Pantoliano.
yeah.
I mean, like, fucking amazing cast.
yeah,
Yeah.
Joey Pants was great in that.
Yeah, and he was the guy that wanted to get the new stuff released.
Okay.
Remember, he was the scummy one.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the drummer or whatever.
Yeah, something like
The
that.
sound tech or something ridiculous.
Yep. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh,
Great flick. Chris.
all right, Chris.
So one that, when we were talking about Head and 200 Motels, I'm a little surprised that we did not talk about A Hard Day's Night yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Since that's, unlike Help, which is just sort of its own goofy slapstick stuff, like Hard Day's Night is really like about them being a rock band and doing the rock band thing and kind of like semi-autobiographical. So yeah, like that one's,
It is.
yeah.
I'm not the hugest Beatles fan. I know I've seen the film, and it was great. Don't get me wrong. I love,
yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those movies that lets you see them different than they are as like on stage.
Yeah.
It's like them having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
It humanizes them completely.
Yeah.
It totally does. And it
And
also,
like you can see why all these teen girls would get so attached because they're getting this behind the scenes feel for who these guys are
yeah.
in an era where that didn't exist.
Oh yeah, yeah. And in it totally does do the like slapsticky 60s comedy thing, it also really does capture that zeitgeist and that cultural moment. Mm-hmm. And, it's close to home enough that like it really does sort of like capture that moment
yeah.
at a time when there weren't like, documentary crews.
yeah.
And I think you could also in a way sort of credit that movie with sort of like inventing the music video as an idea. Almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To the point that then, like, when Help came along, as much as
They started
that one-
making music videos.
Yeah, there's like just straight up music videos just dropped
Like,
into
I
that
Am the
movie.
Eggman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
Very, very
good call.
Good
Thanks
call.
for bringing that
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Trevor?
that's like
I'm gonna go a little Lou Diamond Phillips on y'all.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go La Bamba.
Yeah,
All right.
one of my tops.
Oh,
I watched the shit out of that.
that movie breaks my fucking heart every time.
Oh yeah, it's
That movie was a
Every-
cultural phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
When it came out.
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, and it introduced so many people that had never heard of him to this guy, and we all started caring about his music.
yeah,
It was such a weird thing because like the three of us are basically the same age.
yeah,
And for like, I never heard of frickin' Richie Valens.
yeah.
No, I hadn't.
You
My
know?
parents. Now I can say myself. My parents, when I was growing up, my parents had piles of 45s
Oh, my dad too.
that I would sit and listen to in front of the console stereo. And they had a pile of Richie Valens records.
Oh,
Of
wow.
course, La Bamba.
La Bamba.
We had the
O'Donna.
45 of that. Runaway. That's another one too. So I heard all them great songs. So when the movie came out, I knew the tunes already.
Oh, that's cool.
I was lucky enough just to be exposed to that before we saw the movie. It did obviously open up a whole new audience to his music, and
Enter the sad story.
well, yeah, they come from a rough time, and the movie it's one of the most, I would say, as far as telling a story about a biographical, type of story movie like this. It's very concise. I mean, you really kind of get the story of, from beginning to end, of his rise to fame and his struggles family wise too with his brother.
Yeah.
And just the jealousy and him and his brother trying
Isai
to.
Morales was so
fucking
good
A.
in that movie.
And he tried, his brother trying to like come into his own also, but just never really getting there. He was as talented as Richie was.
Yes.
He really was.
Yeah.
But he just didn't get the opportunities.
And-
And he
and-
was more of a rebel too.
And he had the drinking problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he kind of set himself up for failure.
Yeah.
did.
Because his brother would have helped him if he wasn't a total cock.
Yeah, and there was a
But
lot of
he was
arguments
a
with
fucking
that.
cock.
There was a lot of fights between them, a lot of great scenes where they're him basically saying, "Well, yeah, you got the whole world." He's like, "Yeah, I had to work for it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have brought you with me if you didn't treat me like shit.
There's that great scene with him and his brother when he first comes in, like he plays his first gig at some bar, and his brother can't even play drums.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love that. He's like, just let's just go with it. We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
And his brother, he kind of jams with him,
Kinda.
And I mean,
he finally kind
he
of
starts just kind of whacking the drum set behind him, and they kind of start the jam, and it's this nice
Yep.
build up where they kind of gel as
Yeah.
brothers, doing some art. Just a beautiful movie, but yeah, dark as fuck. Man.
So,
Oh,
it
so
was the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and Buddy,
Buddy
Holly.
Holly.
Yeah.
Buddy Holly, yeah,
That's right.
yeah, and there's that, the Big
Hello,
Bopper was
baby.
played by Brian Setzer.
Yep.
Oh, that's
from the
right.
Stray
yeah.
Cats. So that was.
He wasn't actually playing he wasn't playing Big Bopper.
I thought he was playing the Big Bopper.
No, he was playing Cochran.
Yes.
Oh shit, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can't remember his first name now, but
yeah.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
Phenomenal movie, probably one of my
so
top
good.
5.
So good.
Watched that a million times, and it was a phenomenon when it came in. The movie was huge.
Oh, dude, that song was like in the top 10 for like 6 months.
And it
when
was
that movie
Los
came out.
Lobos
Los Lobos
cover.
who
Yeah.
covered it. Yeah, Los
Yeah.
Lobos, who are still playing.
Oh
These
yeah,
guys
they're still good.
They're still fucking great.
They're
Killer band,
so
man.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you really can't
I
get.
still prefer Tito ES to Tarantulas, but Los Lobos is good.
So yeah, La Bamba. That's a huge one on this list.
Oh yeah.
Another one that I have not seen.
Oh,
Hence
shit,
me
dude.
Gotta
being
see it.
quiet in the corner.
We
over
have to
here.
educate
Go see
you.
it, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
go
Oh,
see
Dude, we
it.
just need to have
being
a
such a bitch.
we just need to have
I
a movie
can't,
music,
I'm sorry.
a movie marathon of
Yeah.
this shit.
Yeah. See, yeah, that's another one of those where I think like me being a few years younger than you guys makes enough of a difference.
Oh, yeah.
that, like that movie is sort of like receded into the cultural background.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for,
yeah.
for us, it was like early teens, beginning of teens, like that era when it came out, and man,
Yeah.
I memorized the words
Yeah.
to La Bamba in like 2 days, and was like walking around my house singing it nonstop.
Naked.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, not that anybody wants to know that, but yeah, of course, I still sing that song.
I was there. So I'm gonna
I wasn't even there.
I'm gonna mention one, but then
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna,
No, you're fine.
But then I'm gonna hit on one that we're all gonna want to talk about.
Oh,
Yeah.
all
But
right.
this one I just want to give a brief mention to. We don't have to get into too much detail. I'm gonna bring up the Beatles again.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Backbeat.
Oh, Backbeat.
Oh,
is
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
good.
So good.
It's so good. It got completely shut down when it came out. A lot of people just like
Because a lot of people were pissed that they were doing the story about Stewart.
yeah. So it's a movie of Stu Sutcliffe, the original bassist prior to McCartney
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
band. Them coming up in Hamburg, playing like Cavern Club, doing
Yep.
a lot of that stuff, and it's kind of crazy how that was weird.
Yeah,
Did
what
you guys hear
what
that?
just happened?
What just happened?
There was some kind of dropout.
Yeah.
Hey.
It dropped out big time.
everybody's mic's still good?
I
Yeah,
can still.
everybody's
Yeah, we're
hot.
fine.
Yeah, that was just weird. It's weird. Something
We'll edit that
electrical,
out.
I bet.
Something happened. Yeah, you're
so
still
anyways,
here.
yeah, so that is one I always suggest. And what's crazy is like the soundtrack for that. The band they put together was like the dude from Soul Asylum, the singer from the Afghan Wigs.
Yeah.
Like it was really rocked up the
It
way they
was
played the
that
songs.
Yeah.
mid '90s
Yeah.
scene.
Yup,
It was
yup.
so good.
Yeah, that's a really, really good movie. Yeah,
It
it
is.
totally
It
gets
is.
overlooked.
And it's sad
Everybody
too.
forgets it existed.
Oh yeah, and what? So why did people get pissed about them telling this story? Just because it?
Because it's
Stuart Sutcliffe really upset a lot of people, and the whole story of him being. Everybody thought it made the rest of the Beatles look bad.
yeah. And like he was not part of the
Fab Four.
Fab Four. He was
Yeah.
not part of the legend. He was like prior to them really getting big.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah,
so
but it
people didn't
doesn't
really
make them-
latch onto it.
But
and they were-
what always
Yeah.
kills me is that him leaving is how they got big.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
And-
that's how the dynamic happened.
yeah.
Yep.
And like he even sort of has that line in the movie. It's like, oh yeah, Stuart, he could have been one of the Beatles. Like if only he could play. It's sort of-
Yeah.
yeah. Like he sort of knows.
that he's
Yeah.
in a lower catalog than the rest of them.
Yeah.
But the one that we have not mentioned yet that definitely has to get mentioned is The Wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
without a question.
Yeah,
No ifs, ands, or buts. That movie is quintessential if you're a music fan.
yeah.
I've seen that movie so many times, and I've still never.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a movie you can really ever get your hand. I mean, at least me, I'm not that smart.
Bullshit.
It's not a movie I can ever really get my hand. Like I can never really ever get my arms around it.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones I guess if I sat down and really meditated on it, I probably would understand it more. I was never while I love Pink Floyd, it's one of those bands I'm wanting to like go and sit down and meditate on the catalog too. It's tough.
Yeah.
If you didn't grow up with it and you're trying to go back on that, and I got friends that just like Pink Floyd. Oh my God, greatest band of all time,
Oh, I'd put them in my top 5.
a lot of it flew over my head.
Yeah.
And it's not knocking them at all. They're amazing. And The Wall, we all sat down and watched that several times. And it's just, it's a statement. And we know it's a statement.
Oh, yeah. Several statements.
It's something I should spend more time on. That's just me, though. I don't know about you guys.
That movie was actually one of the movies that we studied in film school. Because it did so much right. And it had so much great symbolism and use of colors to denote moods and framing.
It's a disturbing looking movie in a lot of ways, too.
It is, and it's really cool that it's one of the only movies I can think of where they use happy lighting to denote lies.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't see that in film. And you watch the flashback scenes of him playing in the yard with his dead rat, and the lighting is happy. And he's surrounded by death and his mom's abuse and all this kind of stuff. And you're watching the scenes, and it doesn't match up. Like, it doesn't. It feels so wrong on a fundamental level that it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular. And then the music. I mean, I always get shit for saying it, especially around diehard Floyd fans. I like Bob Geldof singing the soundtrack better than I liked Floyd singing it.
I don't like Geldof as a person at all. I think he's a terrible, terrible man.
Yeah.
But in this movie he's spectacular.
Yeah.
And he wasn't an actor at the time either.
No,
he
at
was
all.
just a singer. He sang in the Boomtown Rats. That's weird.
This Mike is acting weird too.
Yeah, we're
Tell
getting
me
some
why
kind of.
I don't
Well, how
like
about we go with
Mondays?
one more movie and we call it a night?
Yeah, it's cool.
We're having to listening audience. You may not even hear that. I'm actually looking at the board right now, and I'm seeing some spikes in there. Something's
I see
happening with
right
the
there.
board.
Yeah.
So let's mention one more thing, and we'll call it a night here. I think.
Cool, I'm good with that.
How about Wayne's World?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Total Rocket, another comedy.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
but rock and roll type movie. Obviously, Wayne and Garth were pulled from Saturday Night Live. Those characters, the Wayne's World show, and they, like a lot of Saturday Night Live type things, they made movies out of them. This was one of them.
So well.
Yeah.
Well
A
done.
lot of cheesiness for me,
But it's the right
but it was
kind.
fun.
Yeah, it's,
But it
it's
was
the
fun.
right kind of cheesy.
There's some really, some really great. Some real grateful pause that we all are familiar with, such as no playing "Stairway to Heaven" at the music store.
Oh, here, let me play the "May I Help You" chord.
Yeah,
No stairway.
yeah.
Stairway denied.
Now, I have been told, I did not see that film in theaters, but I've been told that in theaters, Stairway was in that scene, but they couldn't get the rights to distribute it on video with that.
It was the
Is
first
that true?
4 notes.
First couple of notes, and the guy grabbed the guitar.
It was just
But
the
no, I've
dun,
heard
dun,
that they
dun, dun.
reshot that scene for the home video releases because they lost the rights to include Stairway.
Oh,
in that
really?
scene.
There's not enough of
I don't
Stairway
know.
in there for them to make
It's like 4 notes.
a claim.
No,
But
I
you're
mean,
saying
like,
they reshot it,
I've
though.
heard that in the when the film first played in theaters, he actually just plays "Stairway" for a minute.
Yeah.
and that line isn't there.
He didn't.
I did not see.
I saw it
I
in
didn't
the
see that
theater.
in his first run. So
I
don't
saw
know
it in
if
the
it's-
theater, and no, it was just that first thing, and he grabs
It's
the
the,
thing.
so it is
No
just the
stairway.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another fun ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
so great. And who on earth doesn't love the Bohemian Rhapsody scene?
Oh yeah. It was just
Yeah.
phenomenal.
That
I mean,
put
that-
that really saved Queen. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
made
Yeah,
Oh,
that
man,
movie
yeah.
immortalized that song.
Yeah.
more than
More
Queen
than the song.
themselves did. Yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
I-
it's like sort of semi-ironic and kind of making fun of the
We-
song,
we
but
just
like with
did it-
But at
love.
the same time, loving it.
Oh yeah,
it's funny. We played a show. My band played a show in Lansing 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And we were in this little alleyway, and we were all hanging out there just drinking beer and being stupid and waiting, to just load in and do whatever. And the other
you guys
band,
broke into
we're hanging
it.
out. Well, we're hanging out with the other bands, and we were kind of in this little narrow alleyway, and cars were coming through. And this just made me think about that. We're all sitting
Yeah.
out there talking, and all of a sudden, here comes the car. We're like, "Game off!" And we moved over, and then the car came by. And we're like, "Game on!" And we came back out and started talking. Right. So that that's. Wayne's World, had a lot of those little wonderful things that just kind of
yeah.
have dug their way into your brain and they can't get out. Such
Absolutely.
As, Game Man.
I was gonna say, and Who on a Road Trip when Bohemian Rhapsody comes on does not go along with it like they did.
Oh yeah,
Everybody headbangs to that.
and they land
yeah.
to the heavy part, and the whole car
Oh, yeah.
like, freaks out.
And then
yeah.
and the singing high notes to the point where your eyes cross. Everybody except for Chris because he can actually hit those.
He can
Yeah,
actually
I
sing.
can- my
Yeah.
balls cross actually. So before we cut this off, I just got a little bit of news shared with me.
Yeah.
MoviePass is basically done for.
Oh.
They just
This
posted.
just, just in.
Yeah, they just posted a $126 million quarterly loss. They're being sued by other shareholders. In June, their shares sank to below $1. Today, they closed out today. Their the company that owns them is, where is it at? Helios and Matheson. They closed out today at 0.05 cents.
Oh my God!
So I would say in the next
That's
couple
the
days we will probably hear that MoviePass is dead and fucking buried.
Is the website fuckedcompany.com still around?
Probably.
Because they're probably I haven't been on that site in years if it's still around. Yeah, fuckcompany.com. They got to be on the front page right now. Somebody should look that up on their phone or something, man. Holy shit!
That's
.05
insane.
cents a share.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, give me $100.
talk about friggin'
I'll buy
burying-
the entire company right now.
Burying the
Yeah.
nose,
you don't
man.
want to own that entire
no,
company.
no.
I would. I'd just change the name a little bit and remarket it.
Yeah.
Bury the nose. Just
They're done. It's done. There's nothing they
Shit.
can do.
Wow, and all of this in like a month and a half.
Dude, they buried the fuck out of themselves.
Oh,
You
they
know
did.
what?
It was corporate suicide, and that is amazing. That I actually feel a little bit of joy
Well, hey,
in the cockles of my heart.
I've
maybe
said it
the
a million times.
subcockles.
When I first signed up for it, it was $29.99 or $34.99 a month. I used it all the time. I was fine paying that. And then they dropped it to the $9.99 thing.
That's
and I'm
not
like,
sustainable.
how are they going to do this? Because they were paying out of pocket for every ticket that you used.
Yeah, it was.
And then they were
clearly
selling
an
your data
unsustainable business
to
model.
advertise is what they were doing. They're dead.
Well, congratulations, MoviePass.
Yep.
Yay.
I'd say we knew you well, but that would be a lie.
Play taps for him or something. Holy crap, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were getting ready to make a movie with Bruce Willis in it. I bet that's not going to happen.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
I think Bruce Willis will be getting a call in the morning. Oh, yeah, that whole thing?
Yeah.
Not going to happen now.
Fuck it. Don't call him. Let Kevin Smith give him a call.
I guess MoviePass wasn't Die Hard.
Oh.
All right.
Can we please go? I'm tired of all these shit jokes tonight.
This was episode 92. We will be back next week. Goodbye.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. If we're still alive.
Son! All right, guys.
Unless movie phone hunts us down.
Yeah. MoviePass.
MoviePass.
Whatever.
I'm going to
Movie
start a new
phone's
website,
already
MovieAss.
MovieAss.com.
MovieAss.com.
Let's do it tonight.
All right. Bye, people.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.